So go ahead and take either a comfortable seat, or if you've had one of those long days, recline back onto your mat. Let's do a little centering here in a position that feels good to you. Once you get into your position, take a full inhale and let it go. Right onto your mat, into your body. Allow yourself to take in your surroundings. Just allow yourself to become more present with every passing moment. Take a full inhale here. And let it go. Start to take inventory over the body. Acknowledge how you're feeling. Today's flow is going to encompass the whole body, so just kind of check in from head to toe. Acknowledging areas that are a little stiff and tender. If there's any injuries you're nursing, any areas that just feel really stuck today. Allow yourself to use your guided awareness, your breath, your intention to help kind of unlock and notice those areas as we go into this practice of stillness today. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Checking in mentally and emotionally here just for a moment. Acknowledge the day, acknowledge the week. Noticing what thoughts arise and what emotions attach to those thoughts. And see if you can detach from the emotion and just notice the thought. Acknowledge it, give it some loving kindness, and then see if you can send it away. Allowing yourself to become more present with your body, with the sensations of your body, and with your breath. Take your full inhale here. And let it go. Just start to notice where you are in space. Notice the contact of your body and the mat. Your body and any props. Notice that sensation. Noticing the clothes against your skin. So noticing how the body moves as you breathe. Just dropping more and more into the present, into the sensations of the body. Setting a little intention for yourself today. We'll set that intention as we open the practice with a sigh of the breath. Bring your hands either to your heart space, to your belly, or maybe one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Exhale fully here. Inhale. And let it go. Allowing those eyes to blink open. And then taking child's pose here. Any props that you need to find that child's pose a little bit more supportive, maybe something under your chest, maybe something under your knees or your seat. And start to lengthen out. Maybe you rest a little something underneath your head. Allow yourself to lengthen forward, finding child's pose. Just for a moment here, we're going to add on. Maybe have a block or a pillow that you can put your head on eventually for the next part of this pose. And then start to drop in. Noticing how it feels in the hips, the ankles, the knees. Finding your edge. And then settling into stillness there. Take a full inhale here. And let it go. As you inhale, slide the elbows back. Taking that right arm, slide it underneath the left arm. And this is where a prop for your head might come in handy if it's a little bit too deep to go all the way to the floor. But keep reaching that arm over, and then taking your opposite arm, and if it feels good, you can leave it on the ground. Maybe it comes to your hip, maybe it goes back here. Just finding a little twisted child's pose. And allow yourself to settle into your breath, into stillness once you're there. Finding that edge, noticing a little bit of more compression on that right side, especially down along through the arm and maybe into the hip. Just notice how your body breathes. Notice the sensation it creates as you breathe. See if you can let go of any muscle energy. Any engagement of those muscles, just allow yourself to drop into those deeper tissues, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons. As that edge dissipates, you just take your right arm, lengthen it over more. You may need to bring your block with you a little bit, just to find a little bit more rotation. Just be mindful that you're going just to your edge, somewhere that you could settle into that stillness again. Allow your body to notice the sensations as you breathe. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly release that top hand back to the mat. And then press into that hand, slide the right arm back to center. Thoughts on those elbows for a moment. Take a couple deep breaths there. And then start to transition to the other side. That left hand comes underneath the right, sliding it all the way over as far as it'll go. And allowing the head to drop. And then if it's comfortable, taking that top hand, bringing it back behind you, either resting on your hip, on your leg, or finding your opposite leg. Start to settle in here. Notice those sensations as you breathe. more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly bring that top hand down. Pressing into that elbow, slide that bottom arm out. Pausing there for a moment, letting the head drop down. And slowly just sliding yourself out, laying on your belly. Resting there for a moment, extending those legs. Turn your head to one side or resting your forehead on your hands. Just take a couple moments there. Notice those sensations in the body, especially the hips, the ankles, the knees. See if you can notice the flow of energy. After all of that compression in the front body, can you feel that sensation of energy moving through the front body? Exhale fully here. Slowly start to press yourself up onto your hands and knees. If it feels good to do a little cat-cow, do a cat-cow. We're going to come into this next pose. It's called dangle. And with dangle, you are going to stand up. That's where you have the option for a wall. So I will pause and I'll show you for a moment the version of the wall, and then I'm going to come back away from the wall just so you can hear me all. So the version of the wall is you're going to get nice and close to the wall, kind of bend your knees, and then kind of just lean into the wall, letting yourself dangle forward. Walk the feet in so that your upper back is against the wall, and you're just kind of supported, and those arms are dangling down. So that's the wall support. If you're not using the wall, feet are about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And then again, a slight bend in those knees, and then just allowing yourself to dangle forward. So you have any option that feels good to you. It's a little different type of yin, so letting gravity take you down. If it's too much to have your arms interlinked, you can always keep your hands on the floor on the block. But see if you can just really round forward. Let your belly rest on your thighs, let your chest rest on your thighs. Just kind of notice that sensation in the backs of the hips, along that spine, along the side waist, letting that head just dangle down. And then notice the sensations that the body creates as you breathe. Just kind of getting into the backs of the legs, into those tissues there. And then getting into the tissues along the spine, into the upper back, the low back. Allowing that head to be heavy, the jaw to be soft. Let's see if you can even relax your eyelids here. Taking a full inhale here. Slowly let it go. Slowly allow yourself to bend those knees, coming all the way down, dropping those knees down, and either coming into child's pose, maybe a little cat-cow, maybe just sitting back on your heels. Just take a moment there, nice and slow. Just take a few moments to notice the sensations that that pose created. So from here, we're going to go into Malasana. So if you need some support because your knees may not want to be in that position for very long, your hips might not want to be in that flexion for deep. You have a couple options. You can roll a towel, place it under your heels or a blanket. You can even sit on a block. So you have options for that Malasana. I'm going to put my heels up a little bit for this first round on a block or a blanket. And then make the knees as wide as you need to drop them down. And just pause there. There's going to be an option to do a little added arm stretch here if you'd like it. You do not have to do it. Your hands can just be in front of your heart. They can be resting on blocks. They can be resting on a chair. Just kind of dropping those hips. So again, that deep flexion, a little bit of different angle here. So we've been laying down for child's pose for that. We've let gravity take our hips down with our upper body, but now we're letting our hips drop back down with gravity. So just different hip flexion types of sensations here. Like to do a little bit of an arm stretch here. You're going to take your any hand, either hand, doesn't matter where you start. Just bring it back behind you. Roll the shoulders back and just kind of let it rest on your low back. Just kind of notice those sensations that are being created in that shoulder. Again, if this Malasana is becoming too deep of that hip flexion for you, you can do child's pose. You can do a forward fold with 2 legs straight. Just kind of notice the sensation your body creates as you breathe. Notice where the mind wants to wander. Notice if there's more fidgeting in this pose. If you have that one arm back behind you, slowly slide it out in front. Pause for a moment. And then take that opposite hand behind you. Just kind of let it release and relax along your back. You can settle back into those sensations of your breath. Allowing that opposite hand to come back out forward. Just pause there, maybe widen the legs a little bit, maybe round into the spine, let the chin come toward your chest. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to lean forward into your hands, start to straighten those legs, come back to that dangle. If your heels are on the blanket, you can leave them there or take them off. Just kind of dangle forward. Notice those sensations in the backs of the knees, into the calves, shoulders. And slowly start to bring your way back down onto the mat, extending those legs out. And you have the choice of just sitting upright, or you have the choice to maybe even lay back for a moment, extending the legs out, letting go of that hip flexion. Lay back in a Shavasana for a moment. Taking some nice deep breaths, letting go of that pose. Then slowly, as you're ready, make your way up to seated if you're not already. We're going to come into shoelace pose. So maybe having a prop underneath your hips if that feels like you need a little support today for your hips. You can have one leg or two extended. So we're going to start with our right leg on top. So our right leg is going to be on top, our left leg is going to be on bottom. And then you get to decide if you want to bring that bottom leg in. So right leg over the top, just kind of notice how that feels today. If it feels okay, that bottom leg can come under. So you can have half or full. Just kind of settle in here, notice the sensations here. We're going to take this a little bit differently into some variations today for our arms again. Just kind of pause here for a moment, notice how this feels. Try to relax those legs. Sometimes I like to engage my legs and then relax them, so it reminds myself how to relax them. So then from here, we're going to add in a little bit of a twist. So you might need maybe a pillow or something on that bottom thigh. Maybe you don't need to. But you're going to twist toward that top thigh. If it feels okay, lean forward, maybe rest your head in your hand. And then that top hand, your right shoulder, right arm, might go overhead. Maybe it goes back behind your back. Just depending on how things feel. Notice how that feels. If you don't need support for your head, maybe you lean yourself forward and that top hand just kind of rests on the top shoulder, maybe supporting it a little bit as the arm goes overhead. A little bit of a twist. There's some sensations happening in the hips, the knees, the ankles. Maybe along that side waist if that top arm is overhead. Notice how the body moves as you breathe. And notice the sensations it creates. If there's anywhere that feels stuck, that feels tight, that feels tension, see if you can bring your awareness there. Almost like guide the breath there to release it. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Slowly releasing the top hand. Pressing yourself up, coming back to center. Pause there for a moment. See if you can grow long in the spine. Notice those sensations along the side waists. And then slowly start to bring yourself out of that. Nice and slow. Grunting and groaning is okay. Just imagine you're in a morning class. Give those legs a little wiggle. Maybe lean back into the hands, open up the chest. And when you're ready, transitioning to the other side, so your left leg will be on top. Your right leg will be underneath, if that's okay for your body today. Just kind of notice how that feels. Just kind of take this first minute to wiggle yourself into the pose. Find your edge. Just pause there. Connect with the sensations in the body. Just kind of scan from ankle to knee to thigh to hip. Encouraging those muscles to relax. Allowing yourself to sink into the pose a little bit deeper. And if this is always feeling good and maybe that twist didn't feel good, you can totally stay with this pose or you can go forward. If that twist on this side maybe doesn't feel as good as it did on the other side. So when you're ready, start to rotate yourself toward that top leg. Taking that right elbow, the one that's closest to your leg now, start to bring it to the thigh and pause. Maybe your head is rested on the top or the bottom hand. And then your left hand can come overhead. It can come back behind you. Whatever is going to feel best in your body here. And allow yourself to relax and release. See if you can relax that jaw. Noticing your edge. Continue to notice how the body moves as you breathe. Sometimes in twisted positions, we tend to hold our breath or shallow our breath. See if you can just keep your breath natural. Keep it steady. Just notice those sensations. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Top hand starts to come down. Allowing yourself to sit up, untwist. As you untwist, sit down with those sit bones, lengthen up through the spine. And notice those sensations on the body. And then slowly drawing those legs out. Being very mindful to go slow, no rush. Again, maybe taking those legs out, wiggling them a little bit, leaning back into the hands. Maybe pointing and flexing through the feet. Allowing that energy to flow through the legs. And then come back to seated for this next pose. You have a couple other options again. But if you have socks on, you're going to take your socks off because you're going to use your fingers and try to thread them between your toes. So as we've been learning throughout these past few months, we have all of the meridians end or start in our toes. So we're going to kind of find some compression in those meridians. So you have a couple options. You can sit, if it's comfortable to sit in Baddha Konasana. You're going to take your fingers and just kind of thread them between your toes. It's going to be a little awkward. You're going to thread them in. If you have a little bit more mobility, a little bit more space in your toes, you can even start with your pinky toes and thread your toes into one another, kind of alternating them, and then pausing like that. About halfway through, we will switch. If it doesn't feel good to be in Baddha Konasana, you could cross your legs and then opposite hand to the foot, or the hand and foot that's on that side will kind of interlink those fingers and go there. So whatever's going to feel best to you. I know I told you, a little unconventional today.
Can I just do one hand? Because my fingers are broken.
You can totally just do one hand. So like halfway through, you should put your hand on the other foot. So when I switch the lacing of my feet, you'll switch your hand to the other foot. So wherever you are, kind of settle in. I know it's going to feel awkward having either fingers or toes between your toes. And if you're in Baddha Konasana, you can kind of slightly lean forward, round into the back. Let those legs drop open. Again, if your toes just don't want to stay interlinked, use your hands. It's sometimes a lot easier. Relaxing the grip of the toes and the fingers helps as well. So those meridian lines of the body, those 12 different ones, many of them start or end in the feet, especially around the toes. So this kind of helps get into all those meridians, especially at that beginning or ending point. Kind of finding that compression there, allowing that energy to start to flow, or be able to end a little bit more freely. If your head becomes too heavy, you can always rest it on a block or a bolster on top of your hands or your arms. But sometimes just allowing it to dangle a little bit kind of feels good in the neck. Just a few more rounds of breath on this side before we transition. If you have hands on feet, leave, like if you have one hand on one foot, leave them. Those people that interlink their toes or have one hand to interlink toes. You will slowly undo that sensation and then do the opposite. So the opposite toes are interlinked. Or if you have the grip on your toes, maybe you just release that grip and then interlink those hands on your toes again. And then start to round forward again. About 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring your spine back up. And then let go of that grip on the toes. And extend those legs out. Just kind of noticing those sensations. You If you use your hands, you might feel some sensations between the fingers as well. You might even actually feel like your feet or your toes have more space. And then slowly start to open and close the toes, maybe do some pointing and flexing. And then any other movements that you feel are going to be needed in the body. Next, we are going to move into sleeping swan, but with the strap, if you would like it. We did Sphinx pose last week with the strap around our chest and around our legs. This one, you're just gonna have one leg. And we're gonna be more or less in pigeon pose. If you do not want, if you don't have a strap, if you don't want to use a strap like that, you have the wall. So you basically come into that pigeon. Your back knee would be against the wall and your toe up the wall. So you're kind of still getting that quad stretch. You don't have to worry about the strap around if you don't have a strap. So if you have the strap, you're going to make sure that that strap is around your chest, making sure that you have your strap, the part that you're going to pull to tighten it on whatever side is best for you, especially if you only have one hand. But you're going to put it around your chest. So it's right there up under your armpits, right? And then we're going to use our right leg first to come into pigeon. So your right leg's going to be forward. And you have options here. You can do pigeon with your knee straight under you. You can do pigeon with your knee out to the right side of your mat. You can do pigeon and have a blanket or a bolster underneath your hips, right? So once you're up, you're gonna bend that back leg, lasso that foot, and then start to tighten that strap so that foot stays up. And then as you feel comfortable, start to lengthen forward. So that foot's kind of has a little hammock for itself. Getting into it is not the most graceful, so don't worry about it. But once you're there, we'll be there for a while, so you won't have to worry about moving. See if you can get the strap around your ankle. If it's around the foot, no problem, but around the ankle, just gives you a little bit more stability. Nice. And then your elbows can come to the ground. Maybe your head rests on a pillow, a bolster, a block. Maybe your elbows go wide and your head rests on your hands. So again, finding your edge, what's going to feel best to you. Once you're there, settle into your breath. Just kind of notice all those sensations happening in the hips, the knees. Noticing where you feel compression, two body parts pressing into one another or into the floor. Notice where you find extension, places that you feel a little bit of a stretch or sensation like that. And then notice that those sensations change as you breathe a little deeper. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Come up to your elbows if you're not there already. And then undo the strap just a little bit to allow it to slide down over your chest so you can straighten that back leg out. Let it kind of slide down the calf. And then press into those hands. Press it back, your choice. Maybe a little downward dog, maybe a little cat-cow. Whatever's gonna feel best to kind of let that go. Especially on that right side. And then slowly bring yourself back down, taking that strap around the chest again. Bringing the left knee forward. And taking that strap, bending the back knee or putting that back foot up against the wall. And then once the foot is lassoed, bringing that strap up around the chest again, starting to tighten it to where you feel your edge. And again, your knee can stay straight ahead. That's gonna get more of that quadricep stretch. Or if your knee comes out toward the left side of your mat, you're gonna get that hip and knee and quadricep space there. Take your time, no rush. Find that space that you can breathe into comfortably to begin. Again, elbows can be underneath you. Maybe your forehead rests on your hands, on a block. Wherever you can find that edge to where you can sit in stillness. And then tune into those sensations of the body. Noticing how the body moves and the sensations it creates as you breathe. And then can you find some stillness? About 1 more minute here. See if you can settle in. Noticing those sensations. Allow yourself to drop into your breath. Full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to loosen that strap. To allow it to come over the chest so that that back leg can start to straighten, letting that strap kind of drop down your shin. And then pressing into those hands, your choice going into hands and knees, child's pose, maybe a downward facing dog. Just kind of letting that go, notice those sensations on the right and the left sides. Slowly coming back down to those hands and knees. Maybe sitting back on the heels, just kind of checking in here. So our next pose is going to be a twist, a little bit different version of a twist. If this twist does not feel good in your low back, just do a twist that's going to feel good to you. A nice yin type stretch. We're going to be on our bellies for this twist. We're going to be in Sphinx pose, but with one leg extended out to the side. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate. You might really want to have a little bit of prop underneath your chest for this. I usually take a blanket and roll it up so that it supports my chest a little bit more, so I'm not really pushing my elbows down. So I'm going to show you this pose and then I'll walk you through it. Or you could walk through it with me as we go. So I'm going to bring my hands in front of that bolster so that I know my chest is going to go on that. I'm going to take my left leg underneath my right. And then I'm just going to start to extend myself down onto that left hip. And then I'm going to create my body into that Sphinx pose, having a little bit of that support. You might need some more support because you are lifted up a little bit higher because of your leg underneath you. And then as it feels comfortable, you're going to take that left leg and start to straighten it out to the side. So you have this nice sensation on that left hip. Your right knee can drop down, your right leg could be heavy, no problem. And then you're going to slowly keep drawing your chest toward that Sphinx pose. That's kind of what you're trying to go towards. So your left leg is under, you're on your left hip. You're going to bend the knee to begin. Roll your chest forward so you have a nice little opening on that left side. And then bring your elbows down. And then if it feels okay in your body, left leg goes straight. If it does not feel good in the body, keep the left knee bent. Good, so it's like a twisted Sphinx pose. There's definitely a lot of sensations going on here. If you don't quite feel anything in your hips, that back leg, you can start to straighten it and start to rotate your right hip down. And then relax the leg again. So kind of bringing those inner thighs toward one another. Just kind of notice those different sensations. Notice where your mind even goes when you're doing a pose a little differently that you haven't done before. Sometimes the resistance isn't necessarily in our bodies, but it's in our minds. Can you become the observer and just kind of notice what thoughts come up, what sensations occur in the body with those thoughts? And then using your breath, can you let them go? Can you let your body release a little bit more? Surrendering into a little bit of discomfort. About 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Good to come out of this pose, come back to your elbows. And then taking that bottom leg, your left leg bent knee. Draw your right knee and place it on top of your left knee. Slide your hips back away from the bolster a little bit. Rotate your right shoulder up, so you're rotating and twisting on the side. Bring your left arm underneath you and kind of roll yourself over those bolsters for a moment. And then take that top arm overhead. So find some length in the spine, some openness there. Take a couple deep breaths. Nice. And then taking that top hand, place it down in front of your face. Roll toward that top hand, slide your bottom hand under you. And then extend that top leg, press yourself up. And we'll switch sides. So bring yourself to your hands and knees for a moment. Maybe do a little cat-cow, kind of check in with that left hip. If it feels good, maybe lean forward and bring the hips forward just to stretch those hips out a little bit. Kind of like a lazy upward dog. And then when you're ready, taking that right hip toward the ground. And then start to square yourself toward those bolsters. And start to find that Sphinx pose. Allowing those bolsters to support your belly, your chest. And then if it feels okay, start to straighten that right leg out to the side. Any little bit. Maybe the back leg activates, maybe the back leg is relaxed. Just notice those sensations on this side. Find a little bit of rotation in that lower body, finding some length in the upper body. Definitely feeling those hips, those knees. And again, on this side, if it does not work for you, just finding that reclining twist with one leg across your body. Taking that right leg across your body if you're on the ground, on your back. Just a little different type of gravity happening here in the body when we're doing this twist. Also finding a little bit of something in that low back, a little stress there. Being in Sphinx pose. You start to settle into that stillness. Relax the head, relax the jaw. Just allow yourself to surrender here. About 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring those elbows under. As you bring those elbows under, start to bend that right knee. Take that left knee, stack it on top of the right. Slide that right arm out so you're laying over those bolsters. And then take that top arm, reach it overhead. Finding some length in the spine. Letting yourself relax over the bolster. Allowing less pressure on that bottom hip. Taking a couple more deep breaths here. And then slowly take that top hand, bring it down by your face. Roll toward that hand, extend the top leg, press yourself up. Bring yourself onto your hands and knees for a moment. Just kind of check in with that right hip. Lengthening and extending, maybe doing a little cat-cow, maybe a downward dog. Maybe even a little lazy upward dog, keeping the knees on the ground, pressing the hips forward, rolling the shoulders back. And then slowly pressing yourself back. We're gonna come onto our backs. Keep that roll right where it is. Maybe you even keep it just as it is. You can always take it away if it feels like it's too high. But you're gonna roll your shoulder blades. Basically, your armpits are gonna go over that bolster. So as you lay back, your armpits are over the top of it. Your chest is right over it. And then your legs have options here. We've had a lot of bending in our knees for this practice. You can take those legs straight if that feels good in your low back. You can keep the knees bent. I like to bend my elbows and just kind of let my head relax back. Just kind of finding some openness in the chest. We've been rounding forward a lot today. Just taking about 10 deep breaths here. Just kind of noticing those sensations, opening up the front of the body. Letting your belly and chest expand. And then letting yourself drop back into that bolster. About 5 more deep breaths here. On your last exhale here, sigh out the mouth. Slowly bring those elbows over the bolster. Draw your chin to your chest. Start to curl yourself up. Bend those knees if they're not there already. And then roll a little bit to one side so you can move that prop out from underneath you. And then laying down onto your back. Pausing there for a moment. And then maybe do a little windshield wiper with those legs, making the feet wide, just kind of stretching out the front of the hips a little bit more. Moving at your pace, moving from side to side, but as feels best to you, lingering where you feel you need to. And then when you're ready, start to make your way into Shavasana. Allowing yourself to settle into some stillness, using any props you need to, so that you can feel the support, so you can surrender into some stillness. Once you're in Shavasana, allow everything to just kind of release, relax, let go. Start to scan from the body, from the toes, all the way up to the head. Allowing yourself to release each little part of your body. Feeling the support of the ground beneath you. Feeling the support of the props that you have around you. And surrendering into that support. Allowing yourself to be still for just a few more minutes here. I'll bring us out of Shavasana with the sound of one bell. Take rest. Allowing your next breath to come in a little deeper. On your next breath, bring some movement into the fingers, the toes, the wrists and ankles. On your next breath, reach arms back behind your head, slide your feet together, give yourself a long stretch. And then slowly bend the knees, your choice, maybe windshield wiper those legs or hug those knees into your chest, whatever's gonna feel best to you here. And then rolling over to your favorite side, pause there for a moment. Check in, scanning over the body, acknowledging the thoughts. Just noticing any shifts from the practice today. And then when you're ready, mindfully make your way up, coming back to seated. Once you found your comfortable seat, allow your eyes to close, and just hands resting on your thighs for a moment. Bring yourself into your room, onto your mat, and into your body. Acknowledging the sensations of the floor supporting you. Acknowledging the sensations that are happening in the body as you breathe. Just allowing yourself to be here for a few more moments, 100% present in your body and your surroundings. Bring your hands back to your heart center, enter your heart into your belly. We'll seal our practice in with an om or a sigh of breath. Exhale fully here. Inhale. Bowing your head slightly. Taking a moment, think of one thing in your life that you truly are grateful for. Then hold on to the image in your mind's eye as you raise your head to the smile. Thank you for being here. Drink lots of water, each bed is for someone. Namaste.